Right now, we're getting ready to talk about beats, and we're going to come back next week again and talk about part 2 of that because it's very important. But take notes and watch those and look out for next week. But now we're getting ready to talk about a film. It is a great film, we must tell you. It's great as Hustle and Flow. And Hustle and Flow was a great movie starring Terrence Howard and Anthony Anderson. But Anthony Anderson has a way of being in films that have the pulse of hip hop within it, right? And Beats on Netflix is one of those films, right? It's one of those films. So let's go to the trailer real quick. And then we're gonna come back, and talk about the film, or we'll talk through the trailer. Here we go.
August hasn't been in class since last October. We need him in the class. It's a budget thing.
Are you gonna make sure my son doesn't get shot walking home from school?
Is that your son in there making music right now? You know who I am?
Security guard at my school.
I mean, yeah, I am, but I'm also a manager. I want to help you with your music.
I know what to love like my city, Shot City. Everywhere I go, still got it in me.
Okay, so look. So this takes place in Chicago. There's a young man who produces music, but something happens at the beginning of the film where he has a tremendous loss and he suffers from PTSD.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so he can no longer go to school because he's in Chicago and he has to walk through various different neighborhoods because obviously the bus program was defunded for some reason instead of having a bus program still there so he could be bused to school. So he has to walk far away, or they cut out the program that would give you a bus pass to hop on the bus and head to school, right? The Rita, in Cleveland it's called the Rita, in Las Vegas it's called RTC. And I don't know what they call it in Chicago, but it's the bus line. And for some reason, all that is cut out and it's at your own risk, right? Which goes back to much of what we've been talking about already and what we find ourselves in as a people. So look, something happens traumatically, it's just very traumatic for him at the beginning of the film.
Yeah.
PTSD. At the same time, they introduce you to Anderson, who is a security guard at a high school.
Yeah.
And he is prodded by the principal because they are looking to get money, or they will have more budget cut if they don't have the number of black bodies in the seats. You see how black bodies are counted to make money. Still, some things never change. And so they need to have that, or it's going to be more budget cuts and there's going to be some teachers and things laid off, right?
Yeah.
So he's given the list and he goes out and he knocks on people's doors. A lot of doors are slammed in his face. And he finally makes it over to the young kid's place, right? So this young kid right here, you got the cast. So this young kid here, right? He makes it to the house and he's talking to his mother. And so he just levels with the mother that, hey, we need him in class because, we're going to suffer budget cuts if we don't have the bodies in the class, right? The bodies, the black bodies, basically. He didn't say that, but that's what it is in the classroom, even if they're not learning anything, right? So let's go on, keep on with the trailer. The mom says, are you going to keep my son alive?
I want to help you with your music.
I know what to love like my city, Shot City. Everywhere I go, still got it in me. Crown by the hood,
That's it right there.
if I'm rapping, they ready with me. Hit the red line.
So he's a machine that makes a beat a minute.
He's fragile. See me nail this skyline.
Oh, what's in there?
The way that they incorporate the music in the piece, the actual artists, they make you believe that this kid is actually the one who performed on the song, and he actually is producing these beats, and they make you believe these are the actual artists. It's
beautifully done.
Beautiful concept, right?
Okay, so the cast, right?
Okay.
Starring Khalil Everidge. He stars as August Monroe. Okay, and then we know Anthony Anderson.
So that's August Monroe.
Right.
And Anthony Anderson is.
You know the way they have it broken. Okay, Anthony Anderson plays Romello Reese.
Romello Reese, who in his earlier days in the 90s, he was a hip hop manager / producer.
Yeah.
And for some reason he discovers this Caucasian guy. And somehow the Caucasian guy that looks kind of like Bubba Sparks goes on, and somehow he's left on the sidelines to rebuild, and he comes across this young, fresh kid making these beats who has basically self-quarantined himself from the world of violence that is Chicago.
Right.
So go ahead with it.
Okay, so August Monroe's mother, right, is played by, her name is Carla Monroe. Is played by the actress Uzo Aduba from Orange is the New Black. And she does a great job.
She does a great job. I mean, like, her acting, all the performances in this film are A1.
They are.
It's one of those films that could have been in the theater, and it seems like Anthony Anderson, again, always finds the pulse of hip-hop to be in the film. This is like, you could watch Hustle and Flow, and then pick up and imagine that this is the continuation, though different characters in different cities.
Because Anthony Anderson, he does like such a great job that you forget that you're watching Anthony Anderson.
This is true.
And his character, you know, is so believable. And we talked about Khalil, the actor who plays August Monroe, how he emotes. Like, you know, in the scenes, you know, he's a great young actor. He's really good actor.
He acts and brings it across like teenagers today. It's like, I mean, it reminded us of someone. Like when you watch this film, it reminded us of someone, and sure, it reminds you of a son, a son, and even the female interest in the film reminds you of a daughter or a nephew or a cousin. It just reminds you, and it's just a really
it's entertaining. It's great storytelling, and the trailer that I saw does not do it justice.
No, it doesn't.
No, because this is a really good film.
Really great film.
And the trailer is okay, but I'm glad that let me watch this film, because the trailer was like, but Anthony Anderson is in it, so I said, okay, so it's got to be good.
Got to be good.
Okay, so I said, let me watch it, and I said, beats. I said, okay, well, beats. You know, I love music, right? I love hip hop, so let me give it a chance. So I'm glad that we did, because this is a really good film. Great film.
Really great film, right? The cinematography, using Chicago as a living character within it, beautifully done. Showing you the inside of the school, beautifully done. The conflict in Anthony Anderson's character's life, his love life, you know, his separation from his wife, beautifully depicted in the film. And all of it has to do with the music and the decisions that he made early on, and how this is like a second chance for him to get it right. So it's a redemption story, it's a coming of age story, and it's also a hero's journey story, because the kid has to finally build up the courage enough to walk again in the neighborhood, to get over his trauma. Right? Beautifully done. So the cinematography, 10. The arc of the story itself, 10. The use of the city as a living character, 10. The the kid, his arc 10. See, there's a story arc, but then there's the arc of the kid.
Right.
There's an arc of Anthony Anderson. There's an
Right.
arc of the principal.
Yeah.
There's an arc of the love interest of the kid. And then you introduce the secondary characters, which is the mom and then her dad. And I mean,
Right.
it's beautifully
Good.
done.
And then we talked about the music, how good the music is, right? So we've got hip hop artist Dave East starting in the film. He's starring in the film also, along with hip hop artist Drizzy. She's also in the film. So just like the flow is tight, the music is nice. I mean, the production. We don't want to give. We're not going to give everything away because we want you to see the film. But what you do need to know is that he is a great beat maker, right?
Right.
So, and just listening to all his different beats and stuff. Like, if you are a fan of music, if you love music, if you love listening to like the Swiss Beats and Timberland and Dre and Pharrell and multiple other great producers. Just to sit back and just watch this film alone, just to hear the music and the beat construction, and just they did a really, really, really good job.
Solid editing on it, beautiful, everything. It's just incredible. So, what would you rate Beats?
Definitely a 10, because when the movie was over with, you know a movie is good when it ends and you like, okay, I want more. You know. So after we saw the film, I went online. I'm like, is it gonna be like a part 2 to this? Because it was so good.
It was so good.
You know, and then they do such a great job with the characters and writing the characters, and you feel like you know the characters, you're invested, right? And what I love about the script is it wasn't like just a regular, like the same story beat, right? So it was, you get the twists and turns and how you think it's gonna like how you think it's gonna go doesn't go, and it turns this way and it turns that way, and I mean just really good storytelling, and you just want more. And so that's how I know I had to give it a 10, because it is a good film and really good. So definitely see Beats on Netflix, because it's definitely worth seeing. Definitely.
Yeah. So I give it a 10. It is worth seeing.
Yeah.
Go see this film.